Well, I mean, first of all, I mean,
Repeat the question.
right. Well, it's going to be hard to repeat the whole question. She was making a statement, but the question was about, there were 2 points to it. One was about the posturing towards Syria right now and the allegations of the use of a weapon of mass destruction and sort of gearing up for a war against Syria. And then the other part of it was when Bush and Cheney, this was her sentiment, when Bush and Cheney were in office, people were calling for impeachment, and now you don't see that with Obama. And she said, why is he still in office? Is that an accurate representation? So the first thing about Syria, first of all, I'm not covering Syria or reporting on it. I wish I had been, but I unfortunately was working on writing the book right when that was intensifying. I would have wanted to go to Syria, but I couldn't. And so I don't want to get too involved with discussing, because I don't have on the ground intelligence that I got firsthand. I will say that I think that Bashar al-Assad, is a ruthless sort of gangster, and I think that the U.S. used Syria for rendition. The Canadian citizen named Maher Arar was tortured in Syria at the direction of the Bush administration. He was our friend when he was convenient, and then he's a butcher when it becomes inconvenient. The rebels are all, and Gaddafi the same thing, and many of the rebel factions in Syria also are ruthless gangsters and violating human rights. And this is a story that's played out. It happened in Yugoslavia with the Kosovo War. The same argument was made about Saddam Hussein in Iraq. Now they're saying this about Syria. And the U.S. has no moral standing in the world to be the arbiter of what's going to happen in Syria. And it's unfortunate that the U.S. has no credibility on that issue. Because if there was some credibility that the U.S. had, perhaps there would be serious pressures that could be applied that would result in some kind of a solution to it instead of just massive bloodshed in Syria. I'm very skeptical of the allegations about weapons of mass destruction in Syria for very good reasons that I'm sure all of us understand. But I mean, I don't think that the United States should be the policeman of the world, and I also think that we haven't earned the right to be the policeman of the world. Because we've lost a lot of any moral credibility that we had with our foreign policy. As for Obama and why is he still in office, I mean, look, the third day that Obama was in office, he authorized a drone strike that ended up killing a bunch of women and children, day 3 of his administration. We lived in a just world, and there was an international criminal court that the United States was willing to recognize. Then the U.S. would be held accountable in that court, just like Slobodan Milosevic, or Ratko Mladic, or Radovan Karadzic. But the U.S. has relegated what's called the International Criminal Court to just certain kinds of butchers belong in that court. But civilized ones whose foreign policy is to use cluster bombs, well, we had a reason, they were terrorists. Everyone has a reason for why they're killing people in these wars. And the U.S. just has a better reason, is sort of the position. So we would be living in an alternate reality if a U.S. president was actually held accountable for anything that they did in office, whether it's Obama or it's Bush. It is, by nature, you are going to be engaged in war crimes if you're president of the United States. It just never will be called that. It will sound like